Welcome back to the Sexytime podcast. You know us already, so I don't have to introduce ourselves.
I'm Ava.
I'm Belle.
Palmo, they know you.
Today we have a guest who is very close to my heart because she's one of my best friends since high school. And her family is quite close to ours. But more than that, she is an overachiever. Background, she's an MME graduate in
MME,
Assumption.
can you explain what MME is? Mother Marie Eugenie, the highest, most prestigious award. And not every
Exactly.
batch has it. And this girl
has it, but more than that, that's just one of her little feathers on her cap. She is, also
a mom of three.
And she's very successful in her career. She works for a huge company, one of the best companies in the world, Google. And then on the side, kulang pa siya. She wants more. Our guest today is Mara Banson-Reyes. She's a mom of three, and she's a executive coach.
But today we're diving into an exciting episode all about neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, in body language.
Yes,
with Mara.
So that's Mara.
There are too many things to say, but today it's about that.
Tell us about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Mara, and I work full-time as an executive coach and trainer in sales. But prior to that, I was in marketing and sales. My passion on the side is I like to help couples, because I think I was telling you, Belle, I think that if you're good in communication at the office, you're able to influence others in the boardroom. That definitely translates to you being good in relationships, because you're able to influence your spouse to do things that you want them to do, right? Get your children to follow you.
Yes.
So it's a skill that transfers from the boardroom to the bedroom.
Yeah,
Oh my
I love that.
That balance is so important also. Because sometimes when you put too much in the boardroom, wala na sa bedroom.
Naubos
diba?
na.
Naubos
And you know
na.
what? If there's one life skill I think that is quite hard to learn, it's communication. It's being
Exactly.
able to express yourself and allowing people to understand you.
She
I'm
is
not the
an
right
example.
person to be talking
She's
about
an example of that. Oh my gosh, guys, I need to tell you.
Yeah. No, it's true. Communication, it's an underrated skill that people don't know needs to be mastered.
And in the age of AI, now it's super important. We weren't taught that in school.
Yeah.
How to communicate properly and relate with people and be sensitive to other people's cues,
Oh my gosh, now what I'm trying to do is learn how to do proper prompts.
Yeah.
on AI.
And even with AI, you have to know how to prompt it and communicate
Exactly.
and say
Yeah,
what
exactly.
exactly you want in order to get the job done.
I have to say, I noticed with my sister, when someone is able to communicate properly, she has more interest in them. I
Yes.
notice when a person can't communicate, she's like,
Iinis
"Baw,"
ako.
I know she gets pissed.
Yeah.
I
get
noticed
pissed.
that with you,
Yeah, oh my
actually.
God, you're so observant.
That means that person knows what your communication style is.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to know. Like when you're talking to others, what's their communication style and how do you make sure you adapt to it?
How do you learn that? Is that just awareness?
I think it's being perceptive. So
Yeah.
in NLP, I don't know if I explained it, but neuro-linguistic programming is basically understanding how your brain works and then understanding how linguistics or language affects how you feel and how you think.
Okay.
And then programming is understanding what are the patterns in my behavior and how can I influence or change how people think about me or feel about me based on certain processes and tools. So that's neuro-linguistic
Galing.
programming in
That's
a
so
nutshell.
cool.
I feel like it's a lot. For me, can you break it down for us? As you're talking kasi, it's like neuro and then there's linguistic and then there's programming. How do you break it down in a way for normal people to understand how to apply it, I guess?
Maybe simply put, it's understanding how your brain works and making sure you use the right language to get your goals.
Okay.
Ava is good at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
Ava
could be
is
naturally
so
good at it.
Thank
good
you.
at it. She has an objective and she's able to talk to my mom in a way that my
Very
mom
specific situation.
and my mom is able to give it to her. Like, example, she needs to borrow the car. Two different daughters, right? Me, mom, I need the car tomorrow because I have so much things to do. Parang I'll say, I'm so busy. I'm gonna do this with the kids. I have work. I have this. Can you send me the car? My mom's reply to me, Belle, I'm paying for the driver. Gas is so expensive. Why are you gonna make the car come back and forth? No. Okay, change to Ava. Mom, I don't know. I'm feeling so tired. Like,
Manipulative? Is
what
that
do you
manipulative?
think I should do? Do you think I should take a grab to the office and then I'll just have Leo from the office go to school via grab? But I'm so tired. Or do you think I should just stay home? Oh my God. My mom's like, you're gonna take a grab? You're pregnant. I'll send the driver's there now. So she's able to understand. I don't know if it's a trigger.
No, so she involved your mom. So that's
Yeah.
the one thing she did right. And then second, your mom is clearly an emotional communicator. So you
Oh, yeah.
appealed
Mom
to
is
her
a-
emotions and then you told her, you made paawa, basically,
Yeah.
right? And then my guess, based on your mom's personality type, is she wants to be in control and she wants to save you.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Just like her.
you
That's
were
my sister.
requesting, but you were telling her. You're like, Mom, I need the car. So
Yeah.
you're not involving her. You're not giving her the opportunity to save you. You're not
Yeah.
giving her the opportunity to help you. You're not giving her a role.
Yes,
Whereas Ava
that's so
is making her feel
true.
good and actually making her feel like, Mom, you're helping me. You're the best mom ever because you're gonna
Oh my God,
save
that's
me
so
from my
true.
problems. So now you just need to make your mom save you.
Where were you when I was 25? Seriously.
That's so true to hear it like
I was
that.
beside you.
No, but it's so true.
Do you think being like empathetic helps in doing that? Is that something that plays a role in that?
So I think unconsciously you're attuned to your mom's emotions, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
you can read her body language, and that's a big part of NLP. A big part of NLP is how your body communicates before your mind does, before your words do. In fact, they say before you say anything, your body already communicated to the person what you wanted to say. 55% of your communication comes from your body. The rest is
Wow.
tone of voice, and only 7% is words.
Wow, that's actually
and that's
really,
why
really
you can imagine if you're fighting with someone, let's say your boyfriend or your spouse, it's not what they say, it's how they said it to you. And more importantly, how their body was. Were they turned away from you? Did they roll their eyes? Was it that heavy sigh? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Versus, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So it depends on everything. The words are the 7% of what
Yeah.
you say.
Yeah.
And so the fights, where do they come from? They actually come from body language and tone of voice.
So let's say, for example, your spouse says, "Can you stop being so makulit? I just want to be on my phone."
Oh my God, this is a trigger, which we resolved today. Me and Luch literally just resolved this morning. My eyes are heavy because I cried pa kanina. Oh my God.
So he was upset because you're always on your phone.
No, it was the other way around. Backstory is, we had dinner the other night and then parang I called and I said, hey, the food's coming. And with my family, the food gets finished right away.
Yeah.
So I'm like, are you near na? And he's like, you called the second time. You're so kulit. I'm on my way. And I was so hurt. So I was like, okay, fine. And when he got to the dinner, I didn't really talk to him. And then the next day, he had a full day of shooting some videos. So when he got home, he was on his phone typing. I said, you haven't had time with us. Like, can you chat with us? He was like, I just got home. And so parang I was like offended. And then my cousin Martin was like, you know what? That's just because you're longing for connection. And parang he pushed you away. So we haven't talked in 2 days. And then this morning, before everyone came for the shoot, he was like, are we gonna talk? And I was like, okay, what? And then I said, do you have time? Baka you don't have time. And then there he was like, of course not. I always have time for you guys. It's just overwhelmed. Anyway, in the end, I ended up crying. I'm like, baka you don't have time. I'm gonna shoot now. I know, hormone. But anyway, we fixed it. He said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come off that way. I was just overwhelmed. I was thinking about it and our body language at that time. First, I was turned away. I was like, baka you don't have time. And then towards, as we were doing it, like we got closer and sat down together in the office. And we were like, okay, let's talk about it. And then it felt like, okay, this is a space for me to finally open up and tell him, like, I've been wanting to talk to you. I haven't talked to you. I didn't even tell you about my ultrasound, all those things. And then I just started crying. I was like, this is hormones. Okay, it's not anything else. But you're so right. Because at first, we were super turned away from each other. And then
Yeah.
after a while, it felt like, okay, I'm not going to be mad anymore. I'm just going to tell him.
I
You
lear-
talaga, you're
No.
using pa me as an... She always
No,
does that.
I learn something new every day, that your body language speaks volumes.
Yeah.
And I also think your energy speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Like when you enter a room and you're quite, like, hi, you greet everyone, you say hello and things like that. Sometimes those ripple effects, it matters. And understanding also the situation you're in.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like processing it. Galing. Anyway.
I love that. So I want to learn more about NLP.
Yeah.
How do I even start learning about it? Because I remember Luch joined one of the classes
Yeah.
that you facilitated, and he was saying he had nothing but praises to say about you. I'm like, duh, it's Mara. But maybe you can tell us a little bit more about how using NLP can help in a relationship.
I think one of the super helpful stuff in NLP is a concept called reframing. Have you heard of that? So
Reframing.
when something happens to you, you usually label the event with like a word, linguistics, right? Reframing is putting a different word to it, so it changes the meaning of what happens. So, right, I said earlier, NLP is about understanding how your brain works. So, if you're in a spouse, you're with a relationship, and then you're always actually looking for evidence to prove you're right. So,
Okay,
if
it's
I
me.
think that you're a messy person, okay,
Yeah.
my spouse is a bit messy. Every time he forgets something or he spills something, I'm like, see, told you, evidence that he's messy,
That's
evidence
me.
that he
We
loses
all are like
things,
that, I think.
evidence that he leaves the closet doors open, right? So what happens is you need to tell your brain the opposite. What evidence do I have that he doesn't leave things around? Or what is he doing to make efforts to keep things more responsible? Or what has he remembered to do instead of forget things? And if you focus your mind, your attention to the counter evidence, that helps you reframe his behavior.
Oh my gosh.
Because otherwise, you're going to be stuck in just accumulating negative stuff.
You really feel like, see, I told he really is here. That's so
Exactly.
true. Like
Exactly.
with my situation now that I think about it, that's how I feel. I'm always like, see, he's on his phone.
Exactly. So
Oh,
what you
yeah,
need to do is you need to say, when has he put his phone down for me?
Yeah.
And when was he fully present for Leo and I?
Yeah.
When was he immersed in our conversation?
And that's what our arguments are. He's like, of course not. I was with you guys. So it's him counter. So it's putting yourself in that counter argument. That makes so much sense.
So it's not what he does.
It's hard
It's
to do,
actually
though.
what you need to do. So in our mind, the way our brain works, and you've probably heard of this, right? There are neural pathways in our brain.
Yeah.
Whatever you think of more often, it's more accessible and it's easy for you to remember. So if you gather evidence for all the wrong things he does, it's easy for you to then keep remembering that. But if you
Yeah.
start building what I call kind of like a highlight reel, imagine like you're on Instagram, you have a highlight reel of all the good things, right? Come up with a highlight reel of your spouse and all the good things that they do for the trait that you don't like.
Yeah.
So that it's easy for your brain to remember that. And what's top
Yeah.
of mind is not all the bad stuff. So that's one way
I want to
of
just
reframing.
take that and ask you to apply. Give me a situation with Adrian, things you don't like.
Actually, Adrian he's so sweet. He's really like, it's really me that's crazy. No,
I
swear.
love the self-awareness. I'm very proud of
it's
you.
really me
Belle.
that's crazy. And sometimes I nitpick on stupid things, and then I listen to my other friends who have like, who
Actual
are going
problem.
through divorce or a court case with their ex, and I'm like, okay, maybe I don't need to push him to like get bigger arms or whatever.
That's her number one problem
No,
with
no,
Adrian.
it's just-
Bigger arms?
yeah, like
Yeah.
it's stupid. It's petty stuff. It's more
Say
like
it to the listeners what you're all about.
no, it's like this. I kasi am very into weight training. So
Yeah.
I like weight training because for me, I've been doing it for 20 years and it's something that I value. My husband is not a weight trainer. He's more on cardio. So he likes running. He likes all these races and stuff. But because of that, physically, his body has changed. And it's not as it used to be when I first met him. 28, right? Is it babaw?
No, so you know what? I'm going to bring up something that NLP can also teach you. There are 3 types of communicators.
Yeah.
Visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. And you are a visual communicator. That's why looks are so important to you. Like things need to be so clear. You write lists down.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're very particular
Yeah.
about aesthetics.
That's me.
So for you to feel loved, you need to clearly see his acts of love for you.
Yes.
Yeah. That's so true.
Can you have a
And it's
session,
not
me and him
mababaw.
versus you?
I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
I
It's
just
not make her
mababaw.
mababaw.
Wait,
No,
wait,
not
no,
at
no.
all.
Let me go into it a little bit more so the audience understands. Okay, so I'm very much into weights and training. And for me, I find it really sexy when a man has big arms and a big chest because I feel they are manly and they can, because I'm quite
Protect
a tall,
you.
protect me. I'm quite a tall person. So I've always been like the tallest and stuff like that. So in my head, I always wanted somebody taller and bigger and manlier that made me feel like a woman. That's me, okay?
Yeah.
Especially, my background with my exes and stuff. And
Well,
so parang
Naglaglag pa ng ex.
no, I'm still friends with him, but it's more of like what attracts me to somebody is like, height and like muscular build and the feeling of protection. You're
Yeah.
right.
Safety.
So Adrian naman, he was quite ripped and buff before. And I'm not saying he's not that now, but he lost a lot of weight because he got sick and then he's into running. So his bid for connection was, why don't we run a marathon together? It'll be a nice couples thing. And me, I'm like, recognizing his bid, even if I hate running, I said, sige, I'll do it. I trained for 6 months, 8 months, running. I ran 42 kilometers for the Tokyo Marathon.
Bravo.
And that was not because I wanted to. That was for me to make a connection with him. For me to say, I know that you value this run, so I'm going to do it as a wife to connect with you. And it was fun, worth it. I loved it. Another example is high rocks. He likes high rocks because it's under Puma. It's, functional movements. But again, it's running and it's a race. Some weights, right?
But he's strong because he finished so fast. You
Exactly.
need power. to
No,
do
yeah,
high
yeah.
rocks.
This is how we make cuenta, like what you were saying, is like you're counting everything, right? So I did those 2 things for him. Why can't me, like you said, why can't you get buff for me? Why can't you girl, we went to couples therapy for this.
Instead of buff, I think for you, think of it as visual, right? So
Yeah.
you need visual. You need to see it. You need to see his love, his acts of love for you.
Yeah.
So what if, I'm sure if he also dressed really nice, like
Yeah.
the kind of forma that you like,
Yeah.
you're also gonna feel loved,
Yeah, she-
right?
she
if
does.
he,
He doesn't-
shows up in
Yeah.
a party that you care about and is seen by others,
Yeah.
holding on to you or kind of like in that social setting, that
Yeah.
will make you feel loved.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be
She likes
buff.
that.
Because
Yeah.
if you think about it, that's hard to just do overnight.
Yeah.
And
no.
it's contrary to his fitness goals.
Exactly. And he also sees it as like, that's just so superficial. I don't look at myself in the mirror and look at my biceps all day. But I told him like, it's not superficial because it's what attracts me. Like I am sexually attracted to somebody who is buff and ripped. Like that's I like it.
Well, going back to
And
what
so,
you said
yeah.
around safety, what would help you if you saw something because you're visual? What else would you see that would make you feel safe aside from his body?
A big bank account?
No, I'm not kidding. That's true. So
Yeah.
that's it. That's another thing that it doesn't
Maybe
have
I
to be a
should look
big
at this
bank
bank
account,
account more.
but it could
Yun.
also be like
Baka you fall in love
you
na
need to
naman.
be able to see, let's say, a horizon of savings maybe that we
Yes.
have that
Yeah.
I know we're not in a uneasy
Financial, yeah.
situation. I know that there's buffer. So if
Yeah.
you see the bank account, you can't just hear it because
Yeah.
you're visual, remember?
Yeah.
So don't tell him to tell you we're okay or we have enough. That's an auditory person.
Yeah.
You're visual. So you need to see the actual bank account or you need to see the Bitcoin price go up or you need to see
Yeah.
the graph.
Yeah.
That's going to reassure you.
Mara, you are
Maybe you
a
need to see
genius.
a house.
You're a
Wait, what was it
genius.
again? Visual.
Auditory and kinesthetic.
What's kinesthetic?
Kinesthetic is feeling. So people who love language is touch. People who say, I don't feel this is right. Or
That's
I want you
you.
to spend time
That's
with
you.
me.
Yeah, I'm like, I
That's
think
Ava.
that
You're
might
more
be because I'm not
kinesthetic.
auditory either.
So believe it or not, it's 40% of the population is visual, 40% is kinesthetic, and only 20% is auditory. But if you have different communication styles, one person might be like, I don't feel you love me. So that's kinesthetic. Then the other will be like, but I told you I love you. But that's auditory. You telling me you love me, it doesn't make me feel you love me.
Yeah.
I need you to be there.
I want to
Yeah.
know what my partner's.
So you
speaking
need
of
to-
Luch, what is your?
Speaking of partners, Luch, come here.
Luch, what's your communication style
Come
in the
sit here, fast
office?
lang.
What's happening?
Guwapo ni Luch, diba?
So it's auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. What kind of
Uh-huh.
learner are you? If you're gonna learn something,
I'm a very visual learner.
visual learner.
Yeah. So when
So
you
he needs to see.
when you explain stuff to me, if I can't imagine it in my head, I don't get it.
Look naman how buff he is.
So
Visual.
Brother-in-law.
yeah. Yeah, but if someone can show it to me, then it's easier for me to visualize. And if I can visualize it, then I get it.
So what are the stuff that Ava does to you that makes you feel loved?
Hey, go, go, go.
Visual.
I'm so happy
Well,
you
if
walked
it's in the
into this.
it depends on what context. Diba? If it's in the context of relationships, definitely
Kinesthetic.
kinesthetics definitely helps, right?
Do you know what kinesthetic is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Touch.
Ah, okay. Wow, galing nga.
But if you're visual, like are there things that Ava does that makes you feel loved because of, let's say, how beautifully she decorates your house or how she prepares things for you visually? That's
In
reassures
that
you.
context, I think in the context of relationships and stuff, I think kinesthetics is somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the way I touch you.
Okay, alis na ako dito.
So can that be? He's different in the office
Can
than
be.
he is
Yeah.
in... Ano?
Yeah. But it's just good to know that you have to adapt your communication style depending on what people say they're more receptive to.
Okay.
And usually if there's conflict, then there's a disconnect between what the people are giving and what people are receiving.
Okay, so my question is, do you normally ask people what is your communication style, or is it something that they just learn, you just kind of figure out?
You can figure it out from how they talk. So the words that people use, if people use words that use a lot of I see this, they're actually more visual. And then if they're more like a feeling person, like this doesn't feel right. I don't feel you love me. I want to experience this with you. Those are more kinesthetic kind of learners. We call them learners and communicators. But this has actually connected to love languages. So you know the 5 love languages,
That's what I
right?
wanted to bring. Yeah.
And they're very similar. So if you think about it, people who are auditory are people who like praise. Right? They
Okay.
like to hear you say, you look beautiful, or this is an amazing, beautiful house. People who are kinesthetic are a lot more acts of service and touch. And then people who are visual, it's a little bit of a mix. It could be time because they see you present with them.
Yeah.
You know how people who are into time, you don't have to be doing anything together.
Yeah,
You just
you're
need
just
to
there.
be physically there with them.
Yeah.
So they need to see that you're investing time with them, you're spending time with them. So that can also be somebody who's more visual.
I see myself also a little bit like that. Like I like quality time, but you're saying kinesthetic is also acts of service. I think I do like
Yeah.
acts of service. Okay.
And one thing to remember
Ako, I
though,
like
is no
gifts.
person is yeah.
So,
no
we
one
established
person is
mababaw.
only
Just
one.
kidding.
Okay?
Yeah.
So everybody flexes. You do all 3. The difference is there's usually a dominant one that comes out more often.
Yeah.
And that's easier for people to understand. So it's not like, okay, if I tell you I love you and I love you, but then you tell me you're visual, you'll never feel love. No, that's not true. You'll still feel love.
okay.
It's just that it's easier for me to feel the love if
Okay.
you're doing my more preferred language.
That makes so
I'm
much sense.
definitely a gift and also quality time. Words matter to me, but I think because we're on social media and you constantly get comments and praises and stuff,
It's
it's
less-
not as mabigat.
So gift and time goes well with your visual. because I can see the gift.
Tama.
If you got me a nice watch, you got me a nice
Wala pa.
jewelry, right? You got me. That's visual. I can see it with
Tama.
my own eyes. It's not just something in air. I can actually grasp it and touch it. So that's why you can
Cartier
see it.
Panther Mini Express.
She's
Adrian.
stupid. He doesn't watch this.
Okay, what I was gonna ask is, in a relationship, women and men, or guys and girls, or the same, girls and girls, guys and guys, they fight for something super superficial, like mababaw, because you didn't like my post, or hindi ka nag-comment, or hindi mo ako pinost. Is that something that's petty and should just be kind of like
Brushed away.
brushed off? Or is that something, there's something deeper to it?
I think you have to remember, right? In relationships, it's a constant flow of love that you need to feel from the other person. Love and connection. So those little things, like not liking my post, if it's important to me, I feel disconnected constantly. So even if it's very small, like phone usage or sleeping at different times of the night, you know, when
Yeah.
somebody's still working and somebody's
Yeah.
those are little things that add up that make people feel disconnected from you. So it's not at all mababaw. In fact, you need to constantly repair that connection so that it gets stronger and stronger over time. And
Yeah.
you have to be very sensitive to what makes that person you're in a relationship with feel more connected or less connected to you.
Sleeping
The
at
small
different
things.
times?
Yeah, it really
That-
means
that's
that's so
big.
funny because Luch told me kanina when we were having that argument. He was like, "What are you talking about? Of course I have time with you. I even slept the same time as you last night." And I was in my head, I'm like, "Huh?" But he was
For
like,
him, it was big.
"Yeah, weird."
So when couples come to you with problems, or when you're doing your retreats, how do you usually approach their situation? Do you listen to what they fight about, or do you automatically tell them, like, can you identify each other's, I guess, love language or learning language? Is that a step that you take?
If I can go back step on
Yeah, sorry.
on NLP,
Yeah.
the fundamental belief is that all of our actions, it's controlled by our unconscious mind and our conscious mind. So if I can have you guess, how much % of your mind do you think you're using your unconscious versus conscious?
I'm using probably like 80% of my conscious and 20% unconscious.
So it's the flip.
Wow.
It's 90%
Ang okay ng
unconscious and 10% conscious.
Really?
What?
Because our mind, what's in your unconscious? It's your long-term memory, it's your values, it's your beliefs, it's your feelings, it's your dreams, it's your everything that you want, things that happened to you when you were a child, everything you told me earlier about your trauma, that's
Yeah.
all in your unconscious mind. And it's driving your conscious actions. But your conscious actions is only using 10% of your mind. So when you work with NLP with people, what you're trying to do is you're trying to peel layers of the onion to get to the unconscious. So when I work with couples, what I try to find out is criticizing each other on behavior. Behavior is conscious.
Okay.
So whether I was using my phone, not looking at you, whether I screamed at you, but what was driving that was your unconscious. So my belief or my values about what it means to be loved, or my beliefs or values about what a spouse is supposed to do. So what I heard earlier in Ava's example is she felt as a wife, she wanted to make sure her husband was well fed.
Yeah.
So she was like, hurry up, hurry up. But for him, his belief was, you're nagging me, you're controlling me, you're
Yeah.
telling me to do something. I'm already on my way. Why do you have to constantly nag me?
Yeah.
So it's the same outward behavior, which is conscious, but underlying the unconscious explanation or belief is totally different. So when I work with couples, what we have to do is first we need to unearth what's important to you in this relationship. Like, what should a wife provide? What should a husband provide? Or what should a girlfriend or a boyfriend provide? And when you unearth those values, you have to ask each other, is that being met? And
So it's
then
like-
you move from there.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it's knowing what. Taking from that example, I want to talk to Luch about it later. Like what you said, like for me, it's important
couples
that you're
therapy
fed.
session yun na to.
But it's so funny because when I called him that time, he was like, food is not a priority for me. He
Yeah,
told me.
but for you it is, because in your family,
yeah,
it's like scarcity mindset. You
Yeah,
have to eat right
exactly.
now.
So
And
I'm
it's
like-
super important, right?
Yeah, so parang, is there a way to find a middle ground to that? If it's food isn't important for him, kunwari, or is it just you just have to learn to accept now? Okay, maybe that's not.
You can over communicate and say, hey, I'm just really watching out for you because I want you to be able to eat something, and
Okay.
I love you. That's why. But if it's not so important to you, then it's okay.
Got it.
Akin
So
na to.
over communicate. Yeah.
No, I love the over communicating. I'll give you an example of a friend of mine who has a problem with her husband. They have 3 kids. They've been together for like 15 years, but they split everything down the middle. Okay. And last year she lost her job. So she's a parang designer for a company abroad. So she's been eating up into her savings. They don't have a joint bank account. So he has his own, she has her own, and then the things for the kids, they kind of share. So split in the middle nga. Anyway, she was making me kwento, we were having lunch together, and she was saying, I'm having a bit of a trouble because my husband, I told him that I'm on my last few thousands of euros and I don't have any more to pay. I asked him like, what's gonna happen? Can you give me some? And he was like, no, you need to find a job. She felt like this shame and stress and pressure to find a job. So she's out now trying to build a business. I was like, the deeper issue is your husband. Why doesn't he think that his money and what he's making belongs to you, seeing that you are raising the 3 kids? Because she's not working, so she drives the kids to the extracurricular activities. She's the present parent. She's the one who helps the kids with the homework, and yet it's not the money. I don't know if it's compensated. So I didn't know what advice to give her, so I was just dumbfounded because I was like, well, why haven't you tried to talk to him? And she was like, it's very sensitive. What advice would you give to them?
I think in that case, what you need to understand is what is his belief of a role of a woman and a man in a marriage, right? Because in some marriages, they'll say, and maybe this is for her, the man should provide. That's the very stereotypical old traditional way, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so in other marriages, it has to be 50-50. So you as a woman, you ask for your feminism, you need to work, so you need to contribute 50%.
Then tayo na sa feminist movement. Ayan, we have to work and then be
But in
you
other
ask for
marriages, I would even say it's neither 50-50. It's together we're 100, right? So if I'm unemployed but you have a job, then you take majority of it first. And then
Financially.
and then we
Yeah.
can swap also. Or you put value to the work she's doing at home. So I think they have to have a heart-to-heart conversation, and he needs to express to her what his beliefs are about money, and she needs to express to him what she needs from him.
I think money is a huge topic that couples fight about, right?
Well, I mean, before you get married, they make you talk about it, right? And that,
Yeah.
like in those couples workshops, and you never do up until you get to that point, and it's like so confronting, and it really can change everything. Do you ever have advice for couples that have problems like that,
With
or is
money.
it just
I'll give you an example. Yesterday we were shooting something and the videographer is about to break up with her boyfriend. She was saying like, kasi he borrowed 150K from me. I'm like, girl, never pa ako nagpahiram ng 150K to anyone. Her boyfriend daw, because she wants to be a supportive girlfriend and he hasn't paid her back. And what's he doing? He's paying off loan sharks.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
So that's a red flag, right?
Yeah.
For girls out there, if nagpapahiram kayo ng money,
to your boyfriend?
our crew here said that nobody wants to make eye contact with me. To your partner, be very wary because that's already the start, just in the beginning of the relationship. What do you think about how should couples address money issues or money in general?
I think you need to take a look at people's spending habits before you get married. That can already cause conflict, right?
Yeah.
If one is more risk averse and one is more
Yeah.
risky,
Yeah.
right? It's not just spending, but also investments. And so I think you have to have that discussion. Concept we use in the workshops I used to do with couples is we have them imagine what life they want to have 5 years down the line. And that's an NLP technique because remember, it's about figuring out how your brain can work. So if you can visualize and already project into the future what you want, you can work backwards and your brain can naturally get you there faster. So as a couple, you should be asking yourselves, okay, where do we want to be 10 years from now? What kind of lifestyle do we want to have? Where do we live? Where do we spend our time? How do we spend our money? You can have those discussions now and then go backwards. Are we living our life today in such a way that's going to get us there? Or, for example, we dream of having a house of our own. We want to buy our car. We want to have 2 kids 10 years from now. But we're living paycheck to paycheck today. We're not paying our credit cards. We're not looking for a new job. We're not saving.
come on.
So if you think about it, you're not actually living towards that destination.
Yeah.
So you have to do that exercise together and then work backwards.
I
It's
want
like
to do that.
it's
That's so
like you're
helpful.
just dreaming, but you're not taking the steps towards that dream.
Yeah.
That's you.
No, of course not. For your information, I have a vision board, okay? And
Bella's very action oriented. I have to give it to you.
I know, but
When
I
she
always
gets
tell her
an
when she
idea,
wants to
it's
say it,
too
I always
fast.
tell her, I'm
Huh?
like,
Why?
When you get an idea, it's too fast. You did it already.
really?
Yeah, like when
think
you have an
that?
idea for any business, all the time.
No, I love that you just know that about me, that I am very visual. So, for example, for me to reach my dream, I have a vision board and I make lists of how I can reach that dream. And one thing that has helped me, just tying it up also with subconscious mind, how powerful our subconscious mind is. And I had to work on this myself and learning about this every single day. I don't know if this is relevant, but it could. I write like what I'm grateful for. So like
Yes.
today, I'm so grateful that I get to work at a job that I like, which is this.
yeah.
I'm so grateful that I get to spend time with friends and I get to come home for my family to be with my mom, and super small things. I'm so grateful for my assistant Tiny, who helps me keep my life organized. So those are grateful things. And then after I write down 3 things I'm grateful for, I manifest. I'm going to have more work this July so that I can take my vacation in August where I feel more relaxed. I'm going to be able to pay off my taxes. I'm going to be able to, pay my loans this month. And those are small manifestations that I embody and I believe.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot for me to believe in it. But writing it down helps because, again, I guess I'm visual.
Yeah.
And not just that. Remember the thing I said about neural pathways? Because you're constantly making those connections, it's also easier for your brain to make those micro decisions. So in a
Yes.
day, you make so many unconscious micro decisions that you
Yes.
don't think about.
Yeah.
When you're super clear on the goal you have in mind, for
Yeah.
example, getting a new job or paying your taxes, every time we go to a restaurant, you're asking me for receipts. So you make these micro decisions that add up over time because you have that goal so top of mind.
Yes.
And that's why it works. And
Yes.
that's NLP in action.
getting
It's 'cause
getting my
you see-
receipts, putting it under my registered
in
TIN
that
number.
case, can you change your password? Because this is like not related. But one time my sister was like, Abs, I really need you to log into my email. Go log on and you have to do this for me. She was like, okay, sige, sige, sige. I went on and she was like, okay, email is this. Password Ava sucks. I'm like, thanks,
That is very anti-NLP because you're
Capital A exclamation
She's like,
point. Diba kasi you need a number and a
Ava
capital.
sucks exclamation point. I'm like,
Huh? Bitch. No, wait. First of all, that was in college.
I
I was
know,
trying
but-
to get her to print something for me.
don't even try to justify.
No, but matagal na yun.
I
but
mean-
I think now that sucks means a loving term.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
changed
Okay, let's-
meaning
let's
in
reframe.
her
Avas was
brain.
like Annabelle Dong or something like that.
What? Let's reframe.
Your password says a lot about you. No, so anyways, Mar,
Sorry,
talking
go
about subconscious, it's so powerful. Like what you believe is what is gonna happen. So I meet
Yeah.
a lot of people na parang who put themselves down. And you know what I always tell them? Don't put yourself down kasi
Yeah.
ang dami na magbababa sa'yo. Sarili mo, itaas
Yeah,
mo na.
that's
Like
so
put
nice.
yourself up.
And that's what your brain's going to remember. And unconsciously, you're feeding it that information. So then you're going to make it a reality. Because remember, your brain looks for evidence to prove yourself right. Whatever you think, you're always going to be right.
Yeah.
So if you said you put yourself down, your brain's going to look for
Yes.
evidence in your life that will prove you're a failure.
Yeah.
So you have to reframe that, right? Instead of failure, I'm learning.
Yeah.
I love my body.
Yeah, I love my body. That's my, when I look in the mirror, my Esme, she says, I love my body now. Because she just
Even
hears me
Balti.
saying it.
Or my body is strong. I think that's something I grew up with. My mom telling me
body
my
is
legs were
strong.
were big, and now I tell no, my legs are
Strong.
capable, strong.
Yeah,
They're
yeah, yeah.
able to carry my kids up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's super strong. So
Why
how
do
can
we
you
do
see
that?
it more
Why do we
positively?
tear ourselves down?
It's easier because you know why? It's a protective mechanism.
Yeah.
By tearing ourselves down, we're protecting ourselves from being hurt by others. We're thinking that, okay, if I hurt myself, then you can't hurt me anymore.
can't
But
hurt
it's
me.
not actually true. We should be the
Really?
ones loving ourselves more and giving ourselves all the love we need because maybe the rest of the world we can't control and they won't give that to us.
Yeah. It's so hard for a woman, and tell me if this is right, to accept a compliment without like saying something good about the person. Like for example, Abs, you look so good. Or you tell it to me, go.
You look so good.
Thank you. This is nothing. Oh, you nga, you look so good. I love your hair. It's so uncomfortable, that interaction. Why
Yeah.
can't we just say thank you?
Because we were taught by, and I think it's Filipino culture, to
Yeah.
be humble.
Yeah.
Right? It's ingrained in us to be humble. And so if we accept a compliment, then we're not being humble, we're being mayabang.
Yeah.
But it's not. We're not. We're just, guys, for those of you listening, if somebody compliments you, just try to say thank you. And that's it. No need to say anything else. Full
Or
stop.
even acknowledge it and say, yeah, I actually spent a lot of time on myself today. So thanks for acknowledging that I look good.
I just want to come in and ask you a little bit how NLP can play a role in a relationship where, for example, in a couple, one of them has cheated. Is that ever something that can help repair a relationship? I don't know. I can't even think of a specific example, but I just see a lot of people who write in about
a
that.
lot
and-
of infidelity.
yeah,
and
infidelity.
cheating. How do couples?
Can NLP help? Or taking a workshop in NLP?
So there are many tools and processes in NLP. And I mentioned there's actually a lot of visualization.
Okay.
And what happens when somebody cheats is that it takes a hit on somebody's self-worth.
Okay.
And
yeah.
that's planted in their unconscious. So let's say we're a couple, you cheat on me. It's actually not about what you did with that other person. It's what does that cheating say about me? That I'm not good enough, that I wasn't worthy of love because you needed to look for somebody else. So what needs to be healed is in the person that was cheated on. And NLP can do a lot of timeline exercises to get you to go back into your unconscious, do a forgiveness process to
Yeah.
actually help you forgive and let go of that pain
Yeah.
and help you make sense of what happened. So it's a little bit like therapy, which is what I do in
Amazing.
some of my one-on-one sessions. And through that, you can let go of the pain, because what you need to do is you need to be able to make sense of it.
Yeah. Understand it.
And then when you make sense of it and you understand it, then you can let it go. If you avoid it or you push it down, then it's never going to go
You're
away.
throwing it
The
under
feeling's going to haunt you forever. And you're not going to know where it comes from. But it's going to start making you paranoid. It's going to start making you resent your partner. And then things are going to snowball into something even worse.
which is normally what people end up doing, right?
Yeah.
And also because of our Asian culture, it's just patay mali siya. We don't acknowledge it. So if your partner is cheating or you've heard it, it's just like you just try to ignore it. I guess it's a way to protect and cope. For somebody who's experiencing that now, what would you say? You know, they're ignoring it. They don't want to acknowledge it. They don't have the courage to talk to their partner and say, I caught you, or, you know, tell me about this. What's the first step into, I guess, repairing the
I would
relationship?
focus first on the person being cheated on and ask them, how much self-worth do they have? And what do they think they deserve? I'm not one to say,
Grabe, ang sakit. Like,
I'm
that's-
not one to
that's
say
so
to
heavy.
stay or to leave your partner. I'm not. I think that I've seen both happen.
Okay.
I've seen couples who've stayed together and I've seen couples who separated. And as long as it's your decision
Yeah.
and you know what you're moving towards, something good,
Yeah.
then I respect that. But you need to do the work on yourself and you need to understand what do you deserve and then work towards that.
Because you can only you can really answer that.
Yeah, and nobody can tell you what to do. That's why the friends who start interfering and saying, "Oh, leave them na, leave them na." You should never say that. Instead, you should just help the person understand, what do you want? And maybe that's what friends can do. They should ask more questions out of curiosity.
Yeah.
No advice giving, no fixing,
Ang hirap.
Oh my
and
gosh.
only ask questions. What is it that you want? How do you want him to make you feel? And ask deeper questions.
Ava, you can apply it. You know na who.
Ang dami.
Diba?
Just
Yeah.
kidding.
No, but Mara, that's such good advice, ha?
Yeah.
Because as friends, we think that we are showing support by telling them, this is what you should do kasi. You should
Yeah.
leave him kasi ano naman eh, his past, he's a cheater or he does drugs or he does whatever. And you're right. There are people who don't listen. And then when they don't listen, you get, as a friend,
You're
get
like pissed.
frustrated because you're like, hindi naman nakikinig. She's asking for advice but doesn't listen.
Yeah.
But you're right. Maybe your friend just needs your support into making her realize, like, what do you want? And if you're okay with this, then I guess I have to be too, right?
Yeah.
Tama
wala
ba?
kang choice.
And that's another reframe I'll also introduce because I use this a lot. Is in the couples I see fight, it's because when somebody tells you how they feel, the other person feels the need to fix it. And maybe it can be between friends or it can be between spouses. When somebody tells you or complains to you about something, especially when you're very close to them,
Yeah.
you feel like, are you blaming me? Is it my fault? Do I have to fix it? But you need to reframe that. It's actually a feelings report. I don't know if you've heard of that term.
No.
So rather than somebody telling you, I need you to fix my problem because I'm unhappy and it's your fault,
Yeah.
it's a feelings report. They're just telling you how you feel, how they feel. So don't jump and solve. Don't take the blame or don't be defensive. So couples that I see fight a lot, it's because somebody complained about something and then the other one's defending that it's not their fault. But the person never said it was your fault.
Parang you just
Right?
assume.
You just assume, right?
Yeah.
So for example, let's say the fight that you had earlier with Luch, what will happen is he thinks you're blaming him,
Yeah.
right? But you're not. You're just telling him maybe how you feel, that
Yeah.
I don't feel connected to you right now.
Yeah.
And that's the feelings report. So what the spouse is supposed to do is ask you, okay, what can I do to make you feel connected to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And not actually say, oh, but I tried. I slept at the same time as you. So they're
Yeah.
defending themselves and it makes the fight worse.
You know what? I just want to acknowledge how amazing of a communicator you are because
She is.
even though I know some things, the way you explain it makes me understand it on a deeper level.
We're so believed to you. Is it obvious?
Yeah, we're big fans. So tell us about your couples like workshops because I've been in one. During the pandemic, I attended Mara's workshop when she was just starting out and I loved it because it really helped me communicate better with not only my husband, with my kids and also with my sister and with my parents and just people you work with because it was about requests versus
Expectations.
Luch still does that until now. He's
Expectations.
like, my request is. I'm
I
like,
love
okay.
it.
always.
so
Okay, so in that workshop, what we did was first we uncovered your values, uncovered your beliefs, we visioned and told you to imagine what you wanted your life to be, 10 years from now, work backwards. But more importantly, we gave you that safe space to express it. Because if you think about it, people are scared to say what they want. out of a relationship, right? And so one of the things we taught them was the difference in language of an expectation or a request.
Okay.
So many times in relationships, you expect, okay, you know you should do this as a good husband or as a good boyfriend or as a good girlfriend. This is what you already know. I don't need to ask you. But that's not true. You have to remember, guys, everybody has a totally different love language. They have a different communication style. So you have to be explicit. And so what you need to do in a request is you have to say explicitly what is the condition of satisfaction. So that was what I taught them when we talked about requests. Is you can't just say, for example, can you tidy up the dining table? What does that look like? How do I know the dining table has been tidied up? So I want all the plates in the sink and make sure they're cleaned or they're in the dishwasher or they're already in the drying rack. You can't just say, tidy up the plate. If I put everything in the sink, you're still going to say I didn't do it. So what's the condition of satisfaction that makes sure that that request has been done? And that makes your request effective.
In short, your partner or your parents or your sister or whatever, they aren't mind readers. So you need to be specific with what you want. Tama ba?
Correct. And how do you know that it's been done? That's the more important part. Because
How do you measure?
yeah, sometimes you just say, right, I want this, but what does that
means
look like?
different.
Means different for different people. And that's where you fight. Because I'll say, I already did it. No, you didn't. Right? Because you have different conditions of satisfaction.
Like, can you make dinner tonight? And then, no, or like coming home, I guess, and you expect dinner to be there and then there's none. That wasn't something that you guys really spoke about. You expected that dinner should be, I don't know,
On
6
the
p.m.
table.
served on the table, but I'm busy. Sana naman you ask me specific. And I think that's applicable even like as a daughter or a son, as a friend. When you're clear with what you expect, then it's so much easier to blame the person when they don't have. Blame ka agad when they don't meet it.
What's the difference between expectation and request? Because I remember Luch talking to me about that.
So expectation is it's unsaid. I expect you as a good mother to stay up and feed your child and breastfeed.
Yeah.
But if it's a request, I explicitly say, Luch, can you take 4 a.m. to 6 p.m.? I'm gonna sleep. Because as a father, you need to take half.
I think that's so interesting because in my conversation yesterday with a friend of mine, she was talking to me about her boyfriend that she wants to break up with because she like randomly said, you know what, sometimes I feel like life is easier if I was alone. And parang he misunderstood that and he said, you know what, let's break up na lang if I'm really the heavy person for you, I'm bringing you down. And she was telling me like, I just wish instead of saying like blaming himself, playing the victim, he would be like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna do things better. And I was trying to recall what that thing
She had
Luch
to
told
make
me.
a request,
So
actually.
in that situation, I want to tell her she should make a request and say na lang.
This is what I need you to lighten my load. Because right now, pabigat ka. In other words,
okay,
right?
okay.
And that's why it's easier for me to do things on my own. I move faster. That's really true. You move faster when you're alone, but you move farther when you're together. So you have to say to them, hey, I need you to do this for me so that I can have energy and time to do other things. I can't do everything alone. So that's versus what she did was, she was kind of making parinig.
Yeah, exactly.
Which mahilig tayo as Filipino women.
Yeah.
We always drop these like parinig bombs. Then we're just like, let's see if they pick it up. And then if they don't pick it up, di naman niya nagets eh.
Yeah, that's
Diba?
exactly what happened. It's like you're expecting him to react a different way.
And that is where Mara comes in and helps you because you should be a better communicator. You should be able to request. Don't be sad if they didn't reach your expectation.
Exactly.
So I guess I'll give an example. I expect Adrian to come with me as a date for weddings that I have to attend. But he hates weddings or he has things to do. And for him, kaya mo na yan. You're grown, right? But one time, I was attending a wedding in Rome. Usually he doesn't. He doesn't come with me to weddings when I come to the Philippines, if it's friends, like Sinajeli or whatever, because he's busy. But I had to go to a wedding in Rome. And I said, oh, I'm such a loser. I'm going to go by myself and just like talk to myself. So I asked him, I requested, I said, can you come with me as my date? He said no. He said no. He said
Did
no.
you negotiate?
And then I was like, okay, well, at least I requested. And then it took him some time to realize na parang, wait, this is, I guess, her asking me to be there for her. And maybe I can push work a little bit and, we can take a smaller trip. But that was also when I felt love.
Did he go?
He went with me just for 4 days. But the point is, in the beginning, it took him time to understand that this is
Important to you.
important
He didn't
to
know.
me. And I cried pa and I was like, you always make me go to weddings alone. Like I have to go there and socialize with people and then I don't have an excuse to like leave the table because I have a date waiting. And anyway, the point is he recognized my request.
And think of it from his point of view. Because you were fine going to previous weddings on your own, and if you never made the request, he actually thought you're totally fine. So
Yeah.
why would he fix a problem that wasn't his to fix?
Yes.
So making the request is so important because then you express yourself.
Yeah, it's so true. You need to be able to tell your partner or whoever it is what you're feeling. Otherwise, hindi maayos.
To wrap this up, can you like plug if you do any more couples workshops? I'm sure a lot
How
of
do
people
people find you, and how do they sign up to your workshops? Or people who are heads of HR here listening to companies, you know, if you're working for Nestle, P&G, Unilab, Unilever, Meralco, Globe, Smart, whatever it is.
Sponsor us.
And aside from that, and you're thinking of a next HR event, how do I improve my employees' mental health? We have all this budget for
Communication.
2026 or Q4. What should I do? I need something new and fresh. Mara Banson-Reyes.
You can find me on my website, mara-reyes.com. I'm really more of a corporate trainer and executive coach, but I do take on some clients in the corporate setting, bring in the relationship problems because, as I said, everything is interconnected. You can't be 100% at work if your relationships at home are crumbling down. So I do believe that, you know, your relationships are super important, and that's what really helps you become successful. So happy to teach people effective communication styles, how to give proper feedback, how to make requests. Those are both applicable in the boardroom and the bedroom.
I love that. But
So
if
cute.
if we're listening and the person's in a, I don't know, small company or employed, can they still come to you?
Of course. I do something as short as like an hour and a half workshop, depending on the topic. Or I can do, recently, like I did a whole leadership series for SME, a small medium enterprise.
And how much is that?
Usually, if
Okay.
it's something I already have, of course, it's easier because it's plug and play. But then most companies I work with actually ask me to make stuff specifically for their needs. Like, this is the challenge we have. Our leaders are not able to XYZ. And then we devise something for that.
Galing! Congratulations,
Thank you.
Mara. I'm
Thank
so
you.
proud of
Thanks,
you.
Mara.
Like,
We
I
love
love
you.
you.